Hi, everyone. Today, I want to dive into a topic that hits close to home for many of us. Why do we sometimes live a life that doesn't feel like ours? Why is it so hard to stand up for ourselves or simply say no? Have you ever found yourself agreeing to something you didn't want to do just to avoid upsetting someone? Or staying silent when someone crossed your boundaries, only to feel frustrated with yourself later? Let's unpack this together. The answer lies in what psychologists call the shadow. Carl Jung, one of the pioneers of analytical psychology, believed that every person has a hidden part of their personality, their shadow. It's where we bury the traits and desires we consider bad or unacceptable. But here's the twist: our ability to stand up for ourselves and chase our dreams often lies within that shadow. In this video, I'll explain how to recognize your shadow, stop being afraid of it, and even turn it into your ally. You'll learn how to confidently say no, protect your boundaries, and start living the life you truly want. If this resonates with you, give this video a thumbs up, and let's get started. The shadow within us: how to say no and live your own life. I can't say no, I sacrifice my interests for others. I can't stand up for myself when needed, I'm living someone else's life. Phrases like these, unfortunately, resonate with many people. In situations where we need to protect our boundaries, confront a bully, or simply say no, we often feel helpless. Why does this happen? How are these challenges connected to the dark side of our personality? And what lies behind this concept? What is the dark side of personality? The concept of the dark side of personality, or the shadow, was developed by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, the founder of analytical psychology. Jung studied the unconscious mind and identified its various structures, each playing a critical role in our psyche. One of the key components of the unconscious is the shadow archetype. It serves as a repository for traits we consider bad, unacceptable, or undesirable. However, the shadow often becomes a source of strength, essential for self-defense, decision-making, and boundary setting. Persona and shadow, a duo of opposites. The shadow is always in opposition to another part of the personality, the persona. According to Jung, the persona is our public self, the image we project to the world. It is a mask we wear to conform to societal expectations, avoid judgment, and gain approval. But the persona, in its quest for social acceptance, often suppresses the shadow. As a result, when someone offends us or manipulates us, the persona suggests compromise. Don't respond, don't confront, just adapt. Examples of persona overriding the shadow. Someone asks you for a favor that disrupts your plans. You agree to avoid seeming selfish, but later feel irritated and angry at yourself. You are humiliated in a group setting. Instead of standing up for yourself, you make a joke to defuse the tension, only to feel hurt and resentful later. You abandon a personal dream to follow a more socially acceptable path and end up feeling like you're living someone else's life. Thus, the persona and shadow are in constant interplay. However, suppressing the shadow can lead to negative consequences. What happens when we suppress the shadow? When we strive to hide our unacceptable traits, the shadow manifests uncontrollably, often in the most inappropriate moments. The main consequences of shadow suppression. 1. Chronic exhaustion. Constantly suppressing your desires and emotions is energy draining, leading to fatigue and inner emptiness. 2. Uncontrollable emotional outbursts. Suppressed feelings like anger or resentment eventually surface, often in the form of sudden rage or tears at inconvenient moments. 3. Lowered self-esteem. Regularly prioritizing others' interests over your own undermines self-confidence, making you more vulnerable to manipulation. 4. Abandonment of self-realization. Fear of judgment often leads to postponing or even forgetting personal dreams and goals. 5. Projection. We transfer our suppressed traits onto others. For instance, someone repressing their anger might be annoyed by others who openly express it. How to befriend your shadow. Shadow assimilation is the process of becoming aware of and accepting your hidden traits without losing control over yourself. It doesn't mean surrendering to the shadow entirely, but finding a balance. Steps to work with your shadow. 1. Getting to know your shadow. The first step is identifying the traits and emotions you suppress. Reflection can help. What emotions and desires do I find shameful? Why? What irritates me the most in others' behavior? Could these be traits I repress in myself? What situations make me hold back, leaving me feeling angry or resentful later? Keeping an emotion journal can also be helpful. Document your daily experiences and analyze them to uncover patterns. 2. Accepting your shadow. After acknowledgement, it's essential to stop judging yourself for your emotions and desires. Examples. Yes, I feel angry, and that's okay. Yes, I want to say no, and I have the right to do so. 3. Analyzing desires. Not all shadow traits need to be suppressed. Reflect on the following questions. Why do I consider these desires unacceptable? What would happen if I allowed myself to act on them occasionally? Is my fear tied to the desire itself or to others' reactions? 4. Expressing the shadow. Using the shadow means finding safe ways to express your hidden qualities. Examples. You fear saying no? Practice gentle but firm refusal. You feel annoyed by people who prioritize themselves? Perhaps it's a sign you need to take better care of your own needs. How can the shadow help us? When we integrate the shadow, it becomes a source of strength, creativity, and the ability to protect our boundaries. Examples of transformation. Anger becomes a healthy way to assert boundaries. Envy helps you recognize your desires and strive for them. Fear of judgment diminishes and you realize being true to yourself is more important than meeting others' expectations. Conclusion. The shadow is not an enemy but an essential part of who we are. Working with it requires honesty, courage, and patience. But by embracing this process, you can better understand yourself, live in harmony with your true self, stand up for your interests, and pursue your dreams. What's your experience with your shadow? Share your thoughts in the comments.